Okay. Have you ever been in one of those really key professional moments? Maybe you're leading a big presentation or drafting a super important email.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And you just feel like your message isn't quite landing. Like you have the idea, that sophisticated thought, but the words, they just feel a bit, I don't know, basic. Less impactful than you wanted.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
It's that gap between, just describing something and truly owning the narrative with precision. So if you felt that, well, this deep dive is basically your professional language upgrade.
Okay.
Our mission today, to get past the everyday English we all use and really equip you with the strategic power of C1 level vocabulary. These are the terms that don't just describe your work life, they actively elevate your influence within it.
Right. And that's the crucial bit, isn't it? We're not just like listing definitions from a dictionary here.
No, definitely not.
C1 proficiency, it's not about sheer quantity of words. It's about unlocking those subtle differences in meaning, knowing the precise implications of a word, and understanding the strategic context, knowing when that advanced term makes your communication really stand out.
Exactly. The goal is to empower you with the kind of terminology you need to articulate complex ideas, to discuss your career path, your projects with, well, real confidence and clarity. We've sifted through a lot and distilled it down to about 18 really impactful words.
18 key terms. How are we tackling them?
We've organized them by theme. So first up, we've got potent verbs, words about action and achievement. Then we'll look at concepts describing the nature of work itself. After that, key nouns for roles, places, structures. And finally, we'll touch on the big picture, the essential policy frameworks that shape everything.
Sounds good. Let's dive straight in then. Upgrading our action words. We need verbs that really convey specific impact, maybe intention or a level of mastery beyond just doing something. First on the list, to ace.
Right. So we all know acing a test from school, maybe, but professionally, this means performing exceptionally well, like really surpassing expectations. It's not just hitting the target, it's mastering the whole process. It signals, undeniable, comprehensive success.
I think using ace immediately makes it clear we're not talking about someone just scraping by, are we?
Not at all.
If you say a colleague aced the negotiation, it implies so much more than just getting the deal done. It suggests they probably anticipated all the objections, showed really sophisticated interpersonal skills, maybe some strategic foresight.
Exactly. Thinking several steps ahead of the game. That's the added value in the word.
Okay, next up, to appoint. This means formally assigning a specific responsibility, a role, or maybe a job.
Hang on. Isn't that just a slightly more formal way of saying to hire someone? What makes appoint C1 level? Why the distinction?
It's really about the institutional weight behind it. Appoint is significantly more formal than just hiring. It implies a structured, deliberate decision, often a weighty one, especially in contexts like, say, corporate governance. Think about it when a board appoints a new CEO, particularly for something like a turnaround. That word appoints signifies this bestowal of immense authority, profound trust. Choosing appoint over hire elevates the perceived gravity, the formality of that role instantly.
Yeah, it carries that sense of institutional commitment.
Got it. Next on our verb list, to collaborate. So working together actively in a structured way towards a common goal. You're saying this implies something deeper, more integrated than just basic cooperation.
Yes, much deeper. If we zoom out for a second, think about the kind of grand scope and profound societal impact, like when scientists collaborated internationally to develop a vaccine during the pandemic.
Right.
That example shows that really complex global challenges, they demand that kind of shared scientific endeavor, that truly integrated effort across borders. Collaborate captures that intensity.
Okay. And finally, for our verbs, one that seems simple but you're saying is crucial, to follow up. Taking additional action, revisiting a previous interaction. I mean, we all do this, don't we? Send follow-up emails. How does using this phrase signal C1 professionalism?
Because consistent follow-up is fundamentally the cornerstone of accountability and professionalism. It conveys a proactive approach, a commitment to thoroughness. Following up a meeting with detailed notes and clear action items. That simple act transforms a good discussion into a tangible, actionable plan.
Right. It closes the loop.
Exactly. That action, that following up, ensures projects actually get executed, prevents critical details from slipping through the cracks. It demonstrates reliability.
Yeah.
It's basic, but absolutely essential at a high level.
Okay. Powerful verbs covered. Now we know how to describe what we do with more impact. Let's pivot. Let's talk about the language needed to describe the environment we're working in, the challenges, the demands, the opportunities for analysis.
Good transition. Let's start with an adjective many can relate to: hectic. Describing a situation that's extremely busy, often chaotic, lots of activity, usually under pressure.
Yeah, that word paints a picture, doesn't it? You can almost feel the hectic atmosphere in an office during, say, a major product launch. That environment, it doesn't just demand high energy levels, it demands extraordinary effort, intense focus. It really highlights the need for agility, quick prioritization.
Absolutely. Now let's look at a strategic contrast. Two related concepts. First, monotonous. This describes work that's boring, repetitive, leading to tedium, maybe disengagement.
We've all been there.
We have. But strategically, for a C1 level professional, the key insight isn't just recognizing monotony. It's understanding that monotonous tasks are almost a guaranteed path to low morale, maybe errors, definitely affecting outcomes.
So the C1 skill isn't just labeling it monotonous, but identifying the need for a solution.
Precisely. If the work is monotonous, the strategic response is intervention. Maybe it's through automation, maybe job rotation, or perhaps job enrichment, finding ways to break that cycle, increase engagement, and ultimately deliver better results.
Okay, so that's the downside. What's the opposite?
The opposite we should aim for is stimulating. Work that causes excitement, interest, intellectual engagement, drives progress.
Right. You want more of that. Thinking about, those really stimulating debates in a team meeting that suddenly spark brilliant new product ideas, that's where the exchange goes beyond just talking. It genuinely fosters creativity, intellectual breakthroughs. That's stimulating.
Exactly. Now, let's refine this idea of boredom a bit further with tedious. It's similar to monotonous, yes, but tedious implies a stronger sense of drudgery. It's boring and repetitive to the point where it causes actual mental exhaustion or frustration.
Oh, I know this one. That feeling when you're wrestling with some incredibly tedious approval process, multiple forms, endless checkboxes.
We've all felt that pain.
The practical impact is often a significant project delay. It just underscores how critical streamlined workflows are. You need to cut out the tedious stuff to avoid bottlenecks, free people up for tasks that actually add value. Automation can help here, right?
Definitely. Automation is a key strategy for reducing tedious tasks. And finally in this segment, a really critical term describing a common mismatch: underemployed. This refers to someone who isn't able to use their full potential, their skills, their qualifications in their current role. They're essentially working below their capacity.
The insight here seems crucial, particularly for anyone in talent management or even just leading a team. This situation, being underemployed, it doesn't just create, individual career frustration, does it?
No, it actively drives talent mobility. Underemployed workers are often highly motivated to find better opportunities, roles where they can use their skills and feel fulfilled. So they become a significant flight risk if their potential isn't recognized and, ideally, utilized.
Okay, that's a really important dynamic to understand. We've covered actions and the work environment. Let's zoom in now on the key nouns, the words that define the professional ecosystem, the roles, the places, the processes, starting with a place that often symbolizes power: the boardroom.
Yes, the boardroom. It's obviously a physical meeting space, but culturally, professionally, it signifies so much more. It profoundly symbolizes high-level strategy, corporate governance. Just using the term boardroom in a conversation immediately evokes a sense of authority, gravity.
You really see that gravity come into play when, for example, tensions rise significantly during a boardroom debate over something huge like a merger.
Absolutely.
It reveals the boardroom as this high-stakes arena where strong opinions, competing corporate visions collide. The decisions made there can determine the fate of the entire organization.
Precisely. Moving from the top floor down, maybe, let's talk about internship. A structured, temporary period where someone, often a student or recent grad, gains practical professional experience.
Right. And the strategic insight here, I think, is that for both the company and the intern, a well-run internship really functions as an extended practical interview. It massively increases the chances of making a good match, leading to a successful long-term hire.
That's a key benefit. And we should also touch on the growing emphasis on paid internships. This isn't just a small detail, it's a necessary step towards greater equity. It broadens access to these really crucial career-launching opportunities for talented students who might come from more diverse economic backgrounds. Unpaid internships can really limit the pool.
Very important point. Okay, moving to our day-to-day interactions. Coworkers. Simple word, but it covers the individuals operating within the same organization, colleagues, teammates. The value here can be easily underrated, I think.
Definitely. It's often about peer support, isn't it? Like, think about when a coworker casually shares some really helpful tips for navigating new software. That's vital informal knowledge transfer. You can't always replicate that in a formal training session.
True. And also, just never underestimate the morale boost, that sense of collective achievement you get from celebrating milestones, big or small, alongside your coworkers. It really helps build camaraderie, team cohesion.
Well said. Finally, in this noun section, the interviewee. The person on the other side of the table answering questions, typically a job candidate.
When we talk about the interviewee, the conversation almost always has to focus on preparation, doesn't it? Meticulous preparation, doing the homework on the company, the role. It's just so incredibly important for making a compelling, positive first impression, an impression that lasts.
Absolutely critical. And looking beyond just getting the job, there's a growth aspect too. Actively requesting and being open to receiving constructive feedback after an interview that maybe didn't go your way. That turns a potential setback into a really vital stepping stone. The C1 professional knows how to learn from that feedback for future success.
Using every experience. Okay, we've covered individual actions, the environment, the key players and places. Now let's broaden the lens to the really big picture. The essential policy and societal frameworks that govern how we work and interact. This feels like crucial knowledge for navigating any serious workplace effectively.
It really is. Let's start with employee support systems, specifically sick leave. This is more than just time off. It's a vital public health policy, really. It helps prevent illness from spreading through the workplace, supports a healthier workforce overall, and importantly, offers financial stability for employees while they recover.
But there's a balance required here, isn't there? We also have to acknowledge that repeated abuse of a sick leave system, unfortunately, can lead to disciplinary action.
Yeah.
It highlights that necessary balance between the benefit provided and the employee's responsibility in using it appropriately.
That's right. Then we have maternity leave, or parental leave more broadly, now often. Policies that support new parents, they're a profound investment, not just in the employee, but in the family unit. They support that essential parent-child bonding, which research shows has significant long-term positive effects on societal health and well-being.
What often gets overlooked, I think, in just the policy discussion is the practical reality for the individual returning. Coming back to work after an extended leave requires significant personal adjustment and really needs dedicated workplace support from others or any parent re-entering the workforce smoothly.
Very true. The support needs to be ongoing. Okay, moving to a very serious and legally critical framework element, discrimination. This is, simply put, unfair treatment based on protected characteristics, race, gender, age, religion, disability, and so on. It's not only illegal in most places, but fundamentally unethical.
And to combat this effectively, organizations can't just rely on having a policy written down somewhere. They really need to invest in comprehensive training programs, things that raise awareness of issues like unconscious bias, and build robust prevention strategies into the company culture.
Absolutely. Prevention is key. But when incidents do occur, the necessity of having official, confidential channels for reporting is paramount. Employees need safe ways to report issues to ensure justice, accountability, and a fair resolution process can actually happen.
Crucial. Okay, let's shift to the more contractual side of things, frameworks around compensation and separation. Let's talk about notice, the formal statement of intent to end an employment agreement.
Right. And while, standard professional practice in many places might be 2 weeks notice, the actual required period can vary quite significantly. It depends on the contract, the seniority level of the employee, even geographic location and local laws.
And the practical impact of getting this wrong. Insufficient notice, especially from someone in a key role, can severely disrupt critical team projects, impact deadlines, and affect overall business continuity. It's not trivial.
Not at all. And related to contracts and compensation is increment the regular salary increase. Now, this is primarily linked to individual performance, maybe loyalty, company profits, but external factors heavily influence it too, don't they?
They really do.
Yeah. For example, in unionized environments, labor unions negotiate for higher increments using their collective bargaining power. And perhaps more universally, prevailing inflation rates have to be considered. Companies need to ensure increments keep pace, at least somewhat, so employees maintain their real wages, their actual purchasing power.
Good point. Especially relevant recently. Okay, our final concept. This one feels like the vital, maybe invisible oil that keeps the gears of professional life running smoothly. professional courtesy. This refers to those informal acts of assistance, small favors maybe provided between people in the same profession.
Exactly. It's about that mutual respect, that collegiality. Simple acts like, maybe lawyers offering brief, informal advice on a procedural matter to a colleague from another firm, or a designer sharing a useful template.
Those small things add up, don't they?
They absolutely do. These acts consistently build valuable networks, they foster trust, they create strong community ties within a profession. All of this facilitates collaboration and mutual support, which ultimately strengthens the entire profession for everyone involved.
Wow. Okay. So we've just journeyed through a toolkit of nearly 20 strategic C1 terms. We've covered everything from the high-stakes gravity of the boardroom,
Right.
all the way to the intricate policy details of maternity leave,
Yeah.
the nuances of sick leave, and even the strategic advantage of knowing precisely when to use a word like appoint instead of just hire.
And that really is the core takeaway, isn't it? Mastering these terms, understanding their weight and context, provides you with a deeper, far more sophisticated appreciation for the intricate dynamics of the modern workplace. You're now better equipped to articulate not just what is happening around you, but why it matters. You can see the layers, provide richer, more impactful context in your communications.
So here's the final high-impact thought for you, our listener, to really mull over. The language you consciously choose to use in your working life, it doesn't just passively describe your reality, it actively shapes it. The words you select strategically influence perceptions, they forge trust in critical moments, they help you negotiate better deals, and they can genuinely foster innovation within your teams and your organization.
So the real question for you now is, how will you harness this newfound linguistic agility? How will you start selecting your words with greater precision to actively shape the direction of your own professional journey?